Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, I'm recording this right before the Grammys. That's just like my cross to bear living in Australia is our workday is smack in the middle of every single award show. So I will cover any notable Grammys moments tomorrow, but for today I still have 3 stories for you guys. And the first story that I have for you guys is an update from my Chiara Ferragni. Sorry, I actually was told I said it wrong. Chiara Ferragni? I think somebody said it's like lasagna. And I was like, what? But I think they're trying to say the G is silent. Ferragni, probably. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm butchering that. And Fedez. So Fedez has now responded to claims that he had an affair on Chiara the entirety of their marriage. In case you missed it, very high level, a paparazzo and alleged friend of Fedez's named Fabrizio Corona made an expose on YouTube claiming that Fedez had a 6-year-long affair with a 26-year-old woman. So Chiara is a big Italian influencer, one of the first ever fashion influencers, and Fedez is an Italian rapper. So this claim led Chiara to speak out and seemingly confirm this on her Instagram stories. She also claimed that Fedez was on the phone with his mistress minutes before their wedding and would have left Chiara at the altar if his mistress just said the word. Okay, so first, I actually have a lot of Italian listeners, and I'm so glad because I got comments and messages giving me more context into the whole situation. So the main 2 takeaways. The first is that Corona is like the Perez Hilton of Italy, which I think actually gave me a lot of insight because I kept saying, I don't know if you guys remember in last week's episode, why would this man who was quote unquote friends with Fedez release this? I'm so confused. And giving the comparison to Perez Hilton, I think all of us can understand what that means. Second, I got messages telling me to look into the festival of San Remo when Chiara hosted. Again, I'm sure I'm saying San Remo wrong. San Remo? I don't know. I'm sorry. So I actually did see something about Fedez kissing someone on stage at this festival during my original research last week, but I didn't really understand why it had significance because from what I could tell, it was him and this other guy kissing at an award show on stage. It kind of just gave me punk rock, Madonna, Britney Spears energy. I didn't realize that it was a thing, but apparently this turned into a thing. Actually, I shouldn't minimize the Britney Spears Madonna kiss because that really did turn into a thing. But I meant more I didn't realize that it would be a thing for Fedez and Chiara and their relationship. So what I gather was this was a huge night for Chiara. She was hosting this event for television. I think it was her TV debut. So it was a really big deal that she was asked to co-host this. And Fedez basically ruined the night for her by stealing the spotlight in a variety of ways, including this kiss. So there was also apparently a clip going around after this kiss of what seemed like Chiara, at the award show still, right after it, berating or scolding Fedez, obviously for ruining her night, stealing the spotlight. And it led to a lot of speculation about what was going on in their relationship. And Fedez apparently just let that narrative in the press run free. So this is actually directly from their reality show. Again, it's translated. So Chiara said, "In that week, I was nervous above all about what he could do. I was afraid he would do something that would destabilize me too. I asked him the same day to be there for me without doing anything that might upset me. He told me yes, and then of course it didn't. As a life partner and as a partner, I wanted his support. I'm sorry that on an emotional level, those who were supposed to reassure me made me even more afraid. I don't think he completely understood how upset I was, how shocking it was for me. It hurt me even more than I could have imagined. I was angry, sad, and disappointed. It was difficult to return to that stage with a smile." Okay, so now following Chiara's Instagram stories from last week, Fedez has responded with his own stories. He wrote, "The idea that I would have thought about leaving my wife on our wedding day to run away to the other side of Italy is simply ridiculous. I chose Chiara with conviction. I loved her. I married her without hesitation, and we built a family together. Despite our differences, she will always be important to me because she is the mother of my children. I met Angelica a few months before the wedding, and we distanced ourselves to focus on our own lives. I reconnected with her during a moment of personal difficulty without any premeditated plan, at a time when my marriage had already faced deep crises that we weren't able to resolve even after trying. When Angelica decided to end our relationship, among the many mistakes I made, I shared my thoughts with Fabrizio and a mutual friend of theirs, a foolish act in a moment of weakness and vulnerability, for which I am facing the consequences, but I reject any theories of conspiracies or manipulations. I tried to contain these rumors in every possible way, rumors that I would point out are actually harmful to me. I've never been a saint, but our private life cannot be an excuse to create narratives or to divert attention from other matters. None of this is doing any good for anyone. Not for Chiara, not for me, not for the other people involved. Today, I'm putting an end to this. I made mistakes, I paid for them, and I will continue to pay. Maybe I've learned a little. I'm stepping away from a way of presenting myself that no longer feels like me and maybe never really did. I know how this game works. I was a part of it for years. Now I'm focusing on myself and my children. I'll leave the rest to those who need this kind of spectacle. As much as possible, I want to choose reality." I just think it's rich when anyone, who is like in the public eye, who he has been trying to be famous. That's just like part of the gig. And he married the most famous influencer in his country. He has been, as I said last week, apparently he is more famous, more respected than Chiara was at the time of them getting together. I just hate when famous people, whether they're influencers, celebrities, whatever, get on their high horse about fame. I understand. Fame would suck. I completely understand that the perils of fame would be so intense. However, I hate when they get on their high horse about it. He's like, "I know how this game works. I was part of it for years. I'll leave the rest to those who need this kind of spectacle." Okay, buddy, you needed this kind of spectacle for years to build the life and career that you have. You can't chase fame and then once you get it, be like, "I'm too good for this." I hate when celebrities do that. It's like biting the hand that feeds you. That's what it feels like to me. But yes, he is claiming, I guess, that he did have an affair. He is admitting, it seems like, to having an affair. I guess he's saying it didn't start as soon as Chiara and Corona are saying. And now, I only just saw this, so it's not in my notes, but now I saw, and I haven't fact-checked this because I literally just saw it while I was sitting down, but now apparently Chiara is suing Corona, the one who obviously released all of this, 1 million euros. And he replied, "No one can censor us." Okay. I don't know if that's a hill that Corona needs to die on. It's okay. It doesn't even impact your life as far as I know. I think just chill out. These people have kids. I feel so bad for Chiara. It's just a mess. So I actually hope that all of this gets taken offline. I presume it will. Although Corona keeps being like, "I'm going to release episode 5 or something." He's done multi-parts to this. It's giving obsessed. I don't know. I don't really understand. I mean, I guess the comparison to Perez Hilton was helpful because I feel like Perez Hilton might do something as unhinged as this, but it's just wild. I don't know. It's unhinged. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is that Iris Law has been called out by a server as the rudest customer she's ever had. Iris Law was called out on Twitter this weekend for being an alleged nightmare restaurant guest. Iris is the daughter of Jude Law and Sadie Frost, and I would say she's probably one of the biggest up-and-coming, new Gen Z Nepo baby models that we have seen in the last, couple of years. Okay, so over the weekend, a Twitter user at @MadisonTate_ wrote, "When I tell you this right here is the nastiest bitch I've ever served in my life." And she had quote tweeted a photo of Iris Law. She continued, "We hate a mean-spirited, doesn't pay her check, do you know who my father is, ass bitch. Let it be known I've served Rupert Murdoch, Paul Ryan, Steve Bannon, the Kushners, Jeff Bezos, etc., and all of whom had better manners and were at the very least more polite than this cunt." Like none of them started screaming and throwing a tantrum in the restaurant. And then somebody asked, did she tip? And she wrote, oh, she didn't even pay her bill. So Iris has now responded on TikTok, basically saying this is a complete fabrication.
It's literally fan fiction story that guys, come on. So someone's saying that I got up in the middle of a meal and didn't pay and screamed and said, do you know who I am? And because I didn't like the dessert menu, desserts, because that's kind of funny, but it's completely made up. It's 2 a.m. I've literally been having a meltdown about this because now everyone thinks I'm horrible and now it's going viral. It's not even like someone found out someone was cheating or like someone found out someone wasn't paying tax, like someone finding out something bad that you did. Like, I literally didn't do this.
I'm interested if any of you guys have worked in the service industry and have served like celebrities or big names or anyone like that, because I'm actually really surprised that they're saying she didn't pay her bill. I feel like a celebrity being a nightmare, sure. Being rude, sure. Being entitled, sure. But being like, do you know who my dad is? I should get this entire meal for free. I've actually never heard that before, and that would surprise me, but I am interested to hear what you guys think, if you guys have any experience in that space. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys is a TikTok trend. I haven't talked about a TikTok trend in a while, but I think that this is really relevant to a lot of our listeners. So there's this new like Gen Z, like CorporateTok trend going on. I know we have so many, I say this every time I cover a trend, but like we have a lot of social media managers that listen to this pod. So I think it could be relevant for you guys. I don't know if this trend necessarily has a name yet, but it's basically where workplaces or companies are posting slideshows of members of their team as children. So like funny kids pictures of them from like the 90s, the early 2000s. Some of them are like early 2010s, which is giving me a little bit of trauma as I sit here at 33 years old. And on the photos, it will have captions and they'll say like, our marketing assistant in 2010 when she should have been studying the TikTok algorithm, or our HR manager in 2006 when she should have been looking at ways to boost company morale. And it's like a kid, right? These slideshows are always set to the Nicki Minaj verse in David Guetta's Where Them Girls At. And I mean, people are doing these not just for like corporate talk, but I think it's really funny the way that CorporateTok is using this particular trend. And it's similar to those memes where people will be like, why was I a baby in 2003 when I should have been saving for a house or whatever? It's like similar vibes, but it's funny to show the team, you know, share their roles and kind of, I guess what their like number one, I suppose like challenge is in the workplace is like what this is also kind of like exposing, quote unquote. I think it's funny. I like them. I don't know if that's just like super millennial of me. No, I think they're funny. They're cute. And I think they're like a wholesome, good way to create like EGC content without, you know, asking your employees to be part of like a skit or to partake in some trend that could be taken wrong. You know, I think this is like a pretty neutral one in the scheme of things. And no, I feel like I'm going to get a comment or two because you guys know I don't believe in children online. I think it's different when it's your own personal baby photos online. I do not support when parents are posting their children online because they can't consent to that. So that's the difference there. All right, guys. Well, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love you guys. Please rate, review, and subscribe anywhere you listen. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Please leave us a comment, subscribe. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.